Welcome to day 3 of a mostly carnivore transformation. I'm just going to talk about me to start with. So I had a terrible night's sleep last night, absolutely terrible. I tossed and turned all night. I probably got up about 4 or 5 times at the toilet, and I felt like my salicylates were really high. Now, when I'm thinking back to what I ate yesterday and the day before, I think I can put it back to the bone broth. So my lovely mum made that bone broth herself. But in one of the recent batches that she did, she put a lot of the vegetables that were turning in the fridge into it. And I think there were a lot of tomatoes, which really trigger me. Tomatoes are one of my big triggers, particularly if they're commercially grown. When I was growing my own, it wasn't as bad. And I've heard that when tomatoes are commercially grown, aspirin's often added to them to keep pests off. And of course, salicylates are made. Aspirin's made from salicylic acid. So it tomatoes really do trigger me, particularly when there's quite a few. And I just think because I haven't had any salicylates for going on 3, 4, 5, 6 days now, and I haven't taken any antihistamines, it really affected me overnight, and I think it's been building up. So we're going to give the bone broth a miss today, which is a real shame because it's very delicious. And then we might just, Mum's got some other batches in the freezer. I might give myself a few days and then reintroduce it every now and then, not all the time, because I think she does add vegetables to most of her batches, but not usually tomatoes. So my energy is about 6 out of 10. I really just didn't want to get up. I last woke up at 4 a.m. and I was wide awake, and I did have an appointment to go to. I had a healing booked in, and I actually just dragged myself around the house trying to get ready for that. I think if I didn't have anything booked in, I would have really struggled to even get out of bed. I was very tired. Now, I didn't go for a walk this morning just because I was so tired, and I really dragged my feet getting ready for this appointment that I had. And yeah, we'll just see how things go. Hopefully, things improve in the sleep department because it does affect everything that I do. So Adam didn't want to talk about himself today, and that's okay. So I would talk on his behalf. So his energy today, when he's woken up, is 7 out of 10. He woke up at about 8:30. He does go to bed quite late. I think he went to bed about 1:30 last night. His mood, he said, was about 6 out of 10. His motivation was about 7 out of 10. His sleep quality is usually pretty good anyways, 8 out of 10. But his blood sugars were up today, and I know that he's still probably transitioning off a higher carb diet there, but I did expect them to be a little better. Now, yesterday he did eat some of those pork cracklings with maybe the rice flour in, so maybe that had an effect on it. But I actually did expect it to be a little better. He's having issues with diarrhea. Look, he often does anyway. So we just might have to ride that out for a little while and see how he goes. Other than that, he feels pretty good. So our first meal of the day was at 2 o'clock. Neither of us were that hungry. I was getting pretty hungry by this point, I think. But in the morning, I was busy and Adam wasn't really hungry. So, yeah, by the time we cooked these pork bites, which were seasoned when they came to us, they had salt, but they also had pepper on. I would have preferred them without the pepper, but that's what I found in the shops. And yeah, we had about this much each, and it was absolutely delicious. We did them in the air fryer and they really crisped up beautifully. And when I finished mine, I was kind of hungry for some more. Even though there was a fair bit there and we ate everything on our plates, I still felt, because they were so delicious, that I wanted more. So about half an hour after finishing the pork bites, I started on this pork crackle. So I found this brand here, which is locally made in Western Australia. and it did have some garlic flavourings in and vegetable oil, which I would have preferred not to have had, but it was a much better product than the one that I'd previously tried. And it was absolutely delicious. It wasn't too garlicky, but it does have vegetable oil in it. So I will need to find something locally that doesn't have the vegetable oil. But I was pretty happy with these regardless. Adam had the same product, but his was called mildly spiced, and he really enjoyed those too. So I think they do a plain version, but they just didn't have it on the shelves when I bought these 2 packets. So I will check again a bit later and see if I can get the plain version until I find something that doesn't have vegetable oil in it. So we weren't very hungry for the rest of the day or evening. Um, by about kind of 7:45, I started to get hungry and Adam did too. So we ate quite late today, which is unusual for us. We usually eat our dinner quite early. So I think we just need to have a look at what time we're having things so we're not eating too late, too close to bedtime. So we had just some lamb, basically. We salted it and fried it in butter, and it was delicious. And I was really satisfied after that. And that was the end of our eating for today. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you tomorrow.